Welcome to a 4v4 on steps. This is going to be KMA, Optimus Prime, Doubletap, Dirty Dan, and Gary RIR versus CINC 7th Panda Division, Sexual Tyrannosaurus, TWG Instinct, and Based Costanza. And I've already cast a 4v4 with some of these players mixed into the game, so we're gonna see possibly a few familiar things. Base Costanza in particular dominated that particular game with Lend-Lease Shermans. He doesn't actually have that in his loadout this game, so probably going to be seeing something a little bit different this time. Who knows? Doubletap et al. Are in the east base. Base Costanza and his team are in the west base on steps. Both sides kind of spreading out to take territory. Here in the middle, we're probably going to have some engagements pretty soon. SWS half-tracks kind of spreading out to grab stuff. An engagement for the South Island already happening here with Kuba Wagon and some conscripts. And it looks like that Kuba Wagon may struggle to keep back all of this infantry initially, although there is a second Kuba Wagon available to support as well. Could make things a little bit difficult. Maxim is on its way down. In addition to lots of conscripts and combat engineers, one player being sent to the north, Instinct, the American. Might be the only American? Yes, the only American on the team. Will be contending with one single Sturm Pioneer squad for the entire north, while all other Axis forces are mobilized towards the two fuel points. Oh, that Kuba Wagon got microed a little bit lazily there. And it gets taken out just by conscripts. Meanwhile, even more conscripts take out a full Volksgrenadier squad that's not being paid attention to. Doubletap needs to be a little bit more on point in these opening engagements. That being said, 7th Panzer Division about to lose that full conscript squad as well. Tons of full squads just getting wiped left and right, even in the first 3 minutes of the game. More conscripts being hurled at the meat grinder. The Kuba Wagon is available to suppress, but they are oorahing out of its arc of fire. It's being forced to rotate. One of the conscript squads does get suppressed. Meanwhile, yet another oh no, that was Dirty Dan. Excuse me. Dirty Dan's Sturm Pioneer squad gets wiped. Kuba Wagon does make it to safety, just barely by a hair, and the conscripts will, looks like, force away everything here in the south. Only a Volksgrenadier squad remains. And some wounded Sturm Pioneers getting massively overwhelmed by waves and waves of Soviet conscripts. Meanwhile, here in the north, it looks like the American is doing quite well. This volley fire should succeed, I think. Yep, gets suppressed. The Kuba Wagon is way out of position, slowly rotating to fire on these riflemen, which are moving around to its flank. And it's slowly backing up. The rear echelon troops wiping that Sturm Pioneer squad. It will be forced to retreat. Kuba Wagon is kind of rotating around in circles, trying to reposition to a more favorable location. There are Volksgrenadiers available to support here on the left side. Meanwhile, the American has produced a lieutenant and is floating 1,000,000 manpower for some reason. But he should be able to throw a utility car out? No, I guess he's just going to go for the AA half-track. I don't know. Oh no, he is going utility car. Hasn't purchased very many units so far, despite it being 5 minutes into the game. So I'm thinking maybe he's just going to spam a ton of call-ins or something, like paratroopers. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Meanwhile, over here, it looks like a battle group headquarters is going to get set up on the far side of the river, allowing the Soviets to set up a pretty strong defense here on the island. Ooh, big flank making its way towards this battle group headquarters. We'll also note 3 Oberkommando West players and 1 Ostherr player, so there's going to be a lot of Oberkommando West units on the field. MG42 from Doubletap there, MG34 from Optimus Prime. Conscripts are oorahing into position to avoid getting suppressed, prevent those machine guns from setting up in a favorable location. More conscripts moving up to support as well. We'll see if these machine guns can out-reinforce the damage. Doesn't look too good, though. Taking massive damage, not able to reinforce in time, and these conscripts may potentially be able to steal that, trying to get into positioning cover to wipe the second one before reinforcements can arrive. A Kuba wagon is on its way down in addition to some Volksgrenadiers. Meanwhile, here in the north, the American has forced everything back with his utility car, and will be taking control of the victory point and both north munitions. Here on the Oberkommando West truck, the fight continues. The second machine gun has been wiped out by a well-placed Molotov. The Kuba wagon is making its way down. Oh, that conscript squad just got wiped in its attempt to steal that machine gun from within its own Molotov fire. That didn't go too well for them. These conscripts are trying to ooh-rah into range of that Kuba wagon to take it out with an AT grenade. There it goes, and it will go down. Meanwhile, huge Axis counterattack here in the south, forcing everything to respond, I guess. These two Maxims are trying to force away this various stuff, but a Kuba wagon on their flank is suppressing them, and they will be forced to retreat as Stern Pioneers move up to DPS them down. All of the fuel and victory points here on the South Island are going to get taken back by the Axis, as the Allies are quite focused on trying to take down the units around this truck, but it looks like that plan is backfiring a little bit here, as they didn't have any way to destroy the truck itself, and they're slowly just being out-reinforced here. Oh, that Molotov. That Molotov just wiped that Shrek squad! He just stood in that Molotov fire and he lost that Shrek! As soon as they finished upgrading too, which is really a shame. Fortunately, the American player is definitely holding things up here in the north, giving the Allies a solid munitions income. Although I think he may have lost his utility car. Not sure how that happened. But it's dead. Somewhere. 222 is also on the field. Maybe what killed it, in fact. Has one vehicle destroyed, so I'm assuming that's probably what happened. High explosive barrage going out from two separate field guns on the battle group headquarters, and these infantry are desperately trying to push forward and clear the guns out with 222 support. An AT grenade does connect with the 222. Field gun is rotating to fire. Oh, it gets abandoned within range of these American infantry. He may try and steal that. There's absolutely nothing that can follow up and punish him for that. That being said, it's kind of annoying to try and steal vehicles with an American, as an American, because you have to put your entire squad inside of the vehicle, but he does have rear echelon troops on their way, which are the ideal vehicle stealing squad. And we also have a, what was that? Infantry support gun? Sounded like an infantry support gun somewhere. I don't know. The stolen 222 is repositioning to safety. There is a Shrek squad attempting to chase it down. Screening lieutenant and rifleman doing what they can. It looks like the battle group headquarters here will get repaired, and the next infantry push against it will get shut down by that Schwerpanzer headquarters there in the back. 222 slowly trying to back away to safety. These infantry may potentially get forced away by this paradropped 50 cal. Those Fallschirmjäger dealing quite a bit of damage. More Volksgrenadiers moving up to support as well. Here in the south, a ton of Maxims from Sexual Tyrannosaurus are pushing to try to take the territory back down here, but there is a pretty solid defensive line of MG-34s and stolen Maxims preventing his advance. Not to mention, and there's the infantry support gun. The infantry support gun that will be bleeding him every step of the way. There goes that machine gun. He really needs to repair this with the rear echelons that are in there. Shock troops on the field from base Costanza, who has chosen shock rifle. And he's a little bit slow to reposition this machine gun, gonna get taken down fast. Fortunately, it looks is here on the field to prevent anything too catastrophic. Shock troops will throw a smoke grenade to cover their retreat. And there are conscripts here to screen as well, but this particular player, 7th Panzer Division, has not researched AT grenades. That looks pretty much free to have its way with them. This Maxim push here in the south is actually going kind of well. Slowly taking out one unit at a time, making their way toward the victory point and fuel. The fight for the center fuel continues. Currently, it's just 7th Panzer Division trying to hold the line while the American player and base Costanza trying to regroup back towards the center. He's doing the best that he can, but with Fallschirmjäger and a stolen 50 cal taking out his field gun there, he's kind of struggling, especially in this open field. All he has at his disposal is shock troops, and he has no way of closing the distance until his teammates arrive. And it looks like Sexual Tyrannosaurus has failed in his push for the south, all of his Maxims being forced to retreat. He was just taking too many losses, I guess. And if the Allies don't make a coordinated push for one of these fuel points... Ooh! Nasty series of grenades. Nearly wiping out that Grenadier squad. If the Allies don't make a coordinated push for at least one of the fuel points, I don't know if they're going to be able to recover from this situation as massive amounts of Axis fuel and armor starts pouring onto the field. Shock troops retreating. American player making his way into this trench with some BAR riflemen. We also have some bazookas on the riflemen, so BARs and bazookas there. Unfortunately, he gets immediately suppressed by this MG34, perfectly angled so that those riflemen cannot really benefit from the cover of that trench, and everything is being forced to make a massive retreat to his major's forward retreat point here. Fortunately, the Looks did not pursue, despite the fact that it easily could have. Volksgrenadiers miss their grenade here on the north. Lieutenant is about to get chased off by the Looks, though. May wipe that Volksgrenadier squad before the Looks arrives. No, couldn't quite do it, and now he's going to pay the price. Lieutenant gets wiped. Not looking super great for the American player right now. Who is still floating a little bit. Will have access to tanks soon. Field of Sherman. Looks like a big Allied push here for the south is finally happening. Lots of damage on that Kuba wagon. The MG34 is also getting flanked by those PPSH conscripts. A ton of shock troops making their way up as well. This bunker doesn't have the machine gun upgrade yet, and those Volksgrenadiers inside are getting rapidly focused down. Su-85 moving up to bust those bunkers. Oh no, and the Su-85 is going to catch a Schwer HQ getting built. Huge flank continues by those shock troops, killing everything. Not to mention a massive army of Sexual Tyrannosaurus. Team weapons is on its way. Su-85 continues to fire, and that Schwer Panzer headquarters is almost dead at the moment that it finishes constructing. It's only one shot away from being taken out by that Su-85. And there, oh, no, not yet. Repairs beginning by these Sturm Pioneers. And they really have to, wow, I cannot believe he's pulling away when he's that close to destroying that thing. He just needed to take one more shot. What is he thinking? His Su-85 is not that important to keep alive. And I think he could have gotten away clean. And that is a huge missed opportunity by base Costanza there. I think he really screwed that up. Meanwhile, this push for the middle is not working either, and the Allies are just failing at every turn. Had a brief glimmer of a successful push here, but
a gun crew has been lost.
Kind of fell on its face.
Incoming fire! Granada! We've lost a squad of infantry.
attempting to crush with his Su-85. It's not really working. Fallschirmjäger basically killing everything. And now he's probably going to use his Su-85 as well. Maybe not. There are 2 field guns moving up to prevent that Panzer IV from doing anything too crazy. Shock troops and massive team weapon army also moving up to support, but the Su-85 has had its engine destroyed. Field guns are firing! And it takes heavy damage, but it looks like it is going to get away clean. Unfortunately. Meanwhile, big push happening over here. Incendiary artillery gets called in, dealing some damage to various infantry squads. But all in all, it looks like the Allies were forced to retreat again. And Instinct is up to 165 fuel, and while he does still have this stolen 222, he hasn't produced any armor of his own. The Lux gets taken down by by the American AT gun with Su-85 support. There is a Panther on the field though from Gary, RIR. And if the Axis map control situation continues, there's going to be a lot more where that came from. Ooh. Oh. Nice grenade there. Those shock troops are just getting shredded. But an incendiary artillery barrage is getting called in on that stolen field gun. The Panther also being forced back for repairs after that overextension, and these shock troops are moving in to clean up all of this Axis infantry. Tons of damage. Oh, and they get wiped right as they finish a G43 upgrade. Ouch. Pack 43 going up, and this is a pretty dense cluster of Axis stuff. It's gonna start getting really difficult to path around this area, and it's gonna just be a really juicy target for enemy artillery. We do have 2 shock rifle players here with incendiary artillery. We do have an ML-20, we have Katyushas, we have the P-47, so this could be a pretty juicy area for all kinds of area of effect abilities. Pretty feeble attempt at taking the north fails by those Volksgrenadiers. We also have paratroopers with Thompsons in their retreat path dealing massive damage. But fortunately those squads will get away. Barely. We also have the stolen 222 actually doing relatively well. 7 kills on the rear echelons inside. But this Pack 43 has been constructed. Ooh, he's shooting his own truck though. Should probably not do that. Shock troops are just suiciding into this Axis line. Not sure what he's hoping to accomplish here. And there he goes. American player has fielded a Jackson. We also have some a 50 cal being para-dropped. Jackson is not really doing much of anything. There are no tanks to fire on here. This Axis armor still getting some repairs. This Axis defensive line in the south is pretty hardcore. 2 bunkers, machine guns, flak stuff, some various smatterings of AT. This is going to be a nightmare to punch through, which is why the Allies appear to be focusing all 4 of their armies just on trying to take out the middle and desperately cling to the 1 fuel point they do have. Wow, that was a devastating incendiary artillery barrage. And the guy reinforcing out of the truck dies immediately. That was a lot of screaming. Oh no, bazooka rifleman taking massive damage on the retreat. Fortunately, those Fallschirmjäger did not really chase. Probably could have wiped that squad. 222 being forced to reposition, and a Tiger is now on the field from Doubletap, and the heavy armor is just going to keep coming. Oh man. Definitely need some repairs on this truck, though. It's not going to survive another, well, now there's no chance of saving it. There it goes. Pack 43 did get a shot off on that Jackson, forcing it to retreat, but this incendiary artillery barrage is once again inflicting massive damage on whatever various infantry is in the area. Nice flank by those Volksgrenadiers, though. The grenade wipes the field gun entirely. But the Axis push for the north has succeeded. There wasn't really very much defending except for that. And the north victory point will fall into German hands. And now a pretty big push for the center VP by these tanks will go pretty much unchecked. Katyusha is firing. Doesn't really hit much of anything though. Just a little bit of light damage on the trucks. Axis armor is pushing. Jackson is attempting to kite a little bit. Those paratroopers get wiped. There are a lot of field guns and American AT guns set up as well. That Panther O may have overextended a little bit. Lots of bounces off the frontal armor, fortunately. Oh, but his teammate is blocking his escape. He can't get clear. Wow. Oh, destroyed engine. And that's going to be the end of that Panther. There it goes. That is way too much AT. That armored push stands no chance of breaking through this corridor. They're going to have to find another way. Meanwhile, airborne assault getting called in on the center here. Another charge by these shock troops is failing. Will be forced to retreat because of the Schwerpanzer headquarters. Fallschirmjäger do land, but there's a ton of machine guns aimed at the central point, and they won't be able to really do much. The Tiger and Panzer IV are repositioning. An American push for the north looks like it's succeeding. Full squad of Volksgrenadiers, I think? Or Fallschirmjäger or something? I don't recognize, I'm not sure what that uniform is. Some full squad got wiped and the American infantry will be able to retake the north. He actually is leaving that 222 up there so that he can capture this spot. And a Stuka is firing. Some of these anti-tank weapons, wiping a major, wiping an anti-tank gun. Meanwhile, a Katyusha is firing in the area. Nice flank by that KV-8, but unfortunately the Pack 43 is rotating and the Katyusha barrage just didn't quite manage to take it out. It was a little bit off target, I guess. The KV-8 is desperately trying to wipe out the Schwerpanzer headquarters, but this thing is rotating to fire on. Oh, but a concentrated barrage from the Katyusha saves it at the last second. Unfortunately, the Schwerpanzer headquarters itself destroyed its engine. And there they go. And apparently this dead squad was a full Fallschirmjäger squad, I guess. Incendiary artillery falling. And that will get cleared once again. Machine gun getting cleared again. Stern Pioneers having trouble keeping up the repairs on all of these various trucks. Massed anti-tank weaponry. Hopefully will be enough to keep these tanks at bay, but a King Tiger is already on the field. Not to mention the south remains pretty much untouched. Although it is actually quite light on the AT down here. 1 Raketenwerfer and 2 Panzerschrecks. So a significant
Volksgrenadier are on the line.
armored push could definitely succeed. Allied push to the center victory point going in now. King Tiger moving up to prevent massive damage on the Su-85 with the field gun. Field guns will be able to convince that King Tiger to pull back for some repairs. Meanwhile, the armor here in the north has taken heavy damage from something. I'm not sure what happened to those, but they definitely need to pull back for repairs. Stuka going out over here on something. He just fired that extremely blind. That didn't do anything. King Tiger getting repairs. Tiger and Panzer IV in a very vulnerable position. Oh, the Jackson shot missed, fortunately, but the field gun shot did not miss. Meanwhile, we do have 4 Panzerschrecks firing at that Jackson, but fortunately, it will just barely manage to get clear, and a shock troop force flank moving up from the south will force those Panzer Grenadiers to reposition. But he didn't retreat in time, and he's going to give those shock troops a Panzerschreck. Meanwhile, they will continue their rampage and take out potentially 2 more squads of Volksgrenadiers if he doesn't pay attention right now. What is he doing? Run away! Oh no! Well, so much for both of those Volksgrenadier squads. Or not. Never mind. Looks like that one will get away. And oh, one of those shock troop squads got wiped, and he retreated the other one without recovering that Shrek, which he definitely should have done. Tiger desperately needs repairs. King Tiger's also quite badly damaged. Fallschirmjäger blob moving up to support could do pretty massive damage to this blob of AT guns, though, if left unchecked. There are 3 squads of shock troops here. Oh, that close air support just did a massive damage to that Su-85. High explosive barrage going out. Ooh, gets a couple of model losses. Stuka barrage also going in, but it doesn't really hit anything, unfortunately. All of the Fallschirmjäger, however, are going to retreat. Pretty intense battle for this hill. I never really noticed the elevation in this particular part of the map. I never really noticed how there's like a huge drop-off right here. It's kind of interesting. That sounded like a B4, maybe? No, that was a Stuka firing again. The Allies don't even have counterattack tactics, so I don't know why I thought that was what that was. Katyusha firing in this area again. These trucks are all starting to look pretty battered, and the Axis don't really have the resources to repair these. There are no squads available anywhere that can repair this, just this one Sturmpio. It's just way too much repairing to do.
Position upgrade ready.
Massive Allied push for the north going on. So many field guns and tanks. The Axis aren't really mobilizing their full might against this, since most of their stuff is sitting on this island, doing nothing. I mean, I don't even really know what Dirty Dan is doing. It's basically just AFK. Oh no, he's microing his one Stuka. I take that back. Looks like the Allied hold on the center is gonna fail here. There's not really anything left in the middle defending, and the King Tigers are just gonna easily sweep up what remains. Ooh, we do have a few conscripts being sent down here, though. Trying to get into a flanking position on that King Tiger. They will throw AT grenades and the engine will get damaged, potentially allowing this IS-2 to follow up. Meanwhile, in the north, the battle continues. The Allied infantry pushing even further into Axis territory, forcing that Tiger all the way back to base. This stolen Maxim will get cleared out by those Thompson paratroopers, and it looks like a P-47 might be getting called in. Or something. Yeah, that is a P-47. Although I'm not really sure what that was aimed at.
Combat engineers are standing by.
Wait. Maybe that was... No, that was zeroing artillery. Okay, zeroing artillery got called in. Unfortunately, zeroing artillery is bugged and doesn't really do much of anything right now, making it a pretty bad ability. But, that's what that was. In fact, it might be the least cost-effective artillery in the game, now that it doesn't really work. Unfortunately.
We have a new SU-85 to deploy.
Tiger continuing to fight at extremely low levels of health. Really close to losing it here. It will blitz to safety, and fortunately a second Tiger is on the field to fill the gap. All American infantry has been pushed to its limits and will be forced to retreat. The Su-85 and Sherman probably going to get forced back by these Panzerschreck squads. Actually, only one of them has Panzerschrecks. Man, he is dumping a ton of munitions into these Panzer Grenadiers, upgrading them with G43s and Panzerschrecks, losing a single one of those full squads just a devastating loss. Looks like the Axis will take control of the... Nope, never mind. Stuka firing somewhere. Machine gun will get taken out, or at least forced to reposition. Looks like the Fallschirmjäger blob is making its way back towards the north, trying to go straight for the munitions point. I don't think they're aware of the American army positioned up here on the hill. Now they are. This Tiger has been repaired mostly to full. What are those Panzer Grenadiers doing? There they go. Ooh, what happened there? What did happen there? I'm confused.
We have a fresh half-track at our disposal.
I think that those Fallschirmjäger just frangibled themselves. I think one of them threw a frangible smoke grenade and did massive damage to his whole blob and forced him to retreat. I don't even think there were any enemies. So, I'm not sure what he was thinking there. A fresh King Tiger has been produced by Gary RIR and is making its way to the front lines, doing massive damage to various American infantry. There's really not anything in the area here that the American can utilize to fend off even one heavy tank, let alone three. And everything he has is getting completely wiped out. Sherman will probably be soon to follow, despite its attempt to pop smoke to escape. Meanwhile, big infantry blob making a push for the center, getting a little bit of damage off on these field guns and Su-85, but shock troops are moving up to screen. Grenades being exchanged. Don't do a whole lot though. And the American Sherman is making its way down to support as well. Oh, and there goes the building, killing the Raketenwerfer inside. Sherman has equipped high explosive rounds, forcing retreat from those Stern Pioneers, missing its shot on the Volksgrenadiers there. The shock troops are not moving up to support, and the Sherman is like not even coming close to hitting. but it looks like the Tiger got taken out here in the north by massed anti-tank weapons. Like a ton of anti-tank weapons. 2 SUs, 4 field guns. Meanwhile, it looks like we have a big push going down for the south. The Su-85s have taken out one of the Schwer Panzer headquarters, and again, not very much anti-tank down here to repel. Except for that one Raketenwerfer, which may get taken out. Ooh, Katusha barrage going down on the infantry support gun. And Sturm Pioneers. And, oh, that was a devastating burst. Oh, 3 wipes. 3 squad wipes. In 1 barrage. Oh, what is that Stuka doing? Oh, geez, Dirty Dan, you should not be driving that into 2 Su-85s. That was close. I wonder if he saw that. Probably not.
Prepare for action. Enemy flame team! Field promotion! Enemy infantry!
Oh,
Ready for deployment!
sniped. Looks like the Dirty Dan's forces are pushing hard for the left side, taking full control of all the strategic points over here and setting up machine guns right outside the Allied base. Meanwhile, ooh, that Stuka barrage almost took out one of those Su-85s. And the Allies are kind of regrouping here in the center, trying to prepare themselves for the next heavy armored push. We do have one of the King Tigers here. Orange King Tiger is somewhere.
Ready for action!
It's dead? Apparently it's dead. I wonder what happened to it. There's a dead Jackson right there. I have no idea what happened. Oh, that's it, I think. I guess it died, did something. Pack 43 going up in this area. Meanwhile, the Fallschirmjäger Blob is making its push back for the center. Pack 43 does massive damage to the Su-85. 1 Fallschirmjäger squad falling dangerously low. But it will get to safety. Bundle grenade goes out, but doesn't really do anything, and the Sherman high explosive rounds are just too much. And that remaining Fallschirmjäger squad will be forced to retreat. The PPSH conscripts now dangerously close to clearing out this Pack 43, but they do get suppressed by this machine gun. King Tiger also moving up to support will force both of those squads away. The IS-2, however, getting a little bit bold here, charging that King Tiger just outside the arc of fire of that Pack 43, and the incendiary artillery will potentially clear it out. Attempting to block the pathing of his opponent a little bit here, but unfortunately there is a second Pack 43, and he stood no chance. Completely unsupported. Concentrated barrage from a Katusha takes out the crew of that Pack 43, but considering there is another one right here, there really wasn't much they could do, and I think that the American player may have just dropped airborne right here. Which I don't know how he saw that going in his head, but I don't think that this particular paradrop was the best idea. And he is pretty much immediately forced to retreat after taking heavy losses. Meanwhile, this King Tiger is pulling back for repairs elsewhere. The American blob here in the north firing on this Tiger, not really accomplishing much of anything though. Thompson paratroopers get wiped. Second squad of Thompson paratroopers moving up to fire on these Panzer Grenadiers. He will be able to recover a Panzer Schreck on his lieutenant if he decides that's a good idea, I guess, or not. And his lieutenant gets wiped.
We lost an infantry unit.
That was a terrible charge. American player losing just about everything.
Big push coming. Send your orders.
Has only 2 paratrooper squads remaining, and then immediately queues up 2 Jacksons, so it's floating quite a bit of resources.
The capture point is under attack. Crowd infantry. Ammo hold on fire.
Sherman gets taken out.
just lost.
By a freshly crewed Pack 43 with King Tiger support, and the Axis are taking control of all 3 victory points once again, but it looks like a big push for the south is about to happen. Lots of various anti-tank weaponry being fielded to take out that King Tiger. There's just way too many Su-85s. Thing stands no chance and gets taken out by just sheer numbers. Just so much stuff. Katyusha barrage softening up the lines. That truck's already been destroyed. This one's not gonna last long against this massive, massive army of Soviet armor with field guns up to support. Top MG gunners doing a good job of clearing out the various one-man squads that remain. Dirty Dan not being particularly on the ball about retreating them as they fall low. Everything getting destroyed left and right. Bunkers being cleared out. Shock troops moving in to clean up and take territory afterward. The 2 Stukas are firing, but they're not going to do all that much to this heavy armor. Battle group headquarters goes down, and the Schwer HQ is soon to follow. That being said, any hope of Allied control of the north is pretty much gone, as everything has been cleared out and the Axis will take control of the 2 victory points there in the north, bringing the Allies down to 240 points. They have some time, and if they can make a push as impressive as the one they just made in the south, here, or potentially here, who knows what might happen. The Axis have only 60 points remaining. They can't really afford to lose control of the north at all. 2 Jacksons have been produced by the American player.
Tank destroyer is ready for orders. Move back! Pull back! Pull back!
Jackson's dealing massive damage to that Tiger. Will be forced away, getting a little aggressive there with his Jackson. Close air support targets the paratroopers instead of the Jacksons, though. Tiger does manage to take out one of them. Jackson brings the second Tiger down to its last legs, and it will be forced to retreat. If that Jackson doesn't get clear of the strike zone soon, it could get taken out. Plane is coming around for another pass. And it fired right there, and then got shot down on that house. Okay, that didn't really do anything. Meanwhile, push in the south continues. What little remains will get destroyed. No hope of Gary.
Bring the gunner out! Battlegruppe headquarters has been destroyed.
Keeping that battle group headquarters alive, and Allies will take complete control of the south. Repairs are going up on these 2 IS-2s. Some healing wouldn't go unnoticed on those field guns. And then a big push for this area could seal the game for the Allies. Katyushas, it looks like that's probably what they're going to do, since Katyushas are softening it up now. Again, he's been firing blind this whole time, getting a little bit of random damage on the trucks here and there. Not really targeting the Pack 43. Probably be a good idea to clear some veterancy off of that thing before their push.
Fighting has lowered the enemy down to 200 points.
200 points remaining for the Soviets, or Allies. Wow. Oh, nice barrage though. That is a glorious thing. That's the magic of 4v4. That is literally Dirty Dan's entire army right there. The push for the center is finally happening. Katyusha does manage to clear out the Pak-43. In fact, the gun is destroyed entirely. A King Tiger is being mobilized to help support, push away whatever is coming. Those conscripts are forced to retreat. Actually, I guess the push is not happening because he was just kind of probing with one conscript squad. Meanwhile, this stuff in the south is gonna flank around from behind and try and start taking out these trucks. In particular, that thing has fallen extremely low. Wow, if those two Su-85s even realized what was over here right now. And they don't have vision, but good God, that is just waiting to be destroyed. Nice flank by the Su-85s regardless on the truck, taking out the Schwerer Panzer headquarters. Mechanized regiment soon to follow. Second Mechanized regiment's not going to be able to do much. There's only a Pak-43 available to defend. Shot bounces off of the IS-2. Oh, that one didn't bounce, but these shock troops are quickly moving up to take that thing out. There is a machine gun bunker to suppress those shock troops. This squad looks like it may get through. Oh, field guns take the bunkers out entirely. Meanwhile, the Su-85s continue working on the trucks themselves. And the IS-2s have pulled back for repairs as while the Pak-43 is getting taken out. Meanwhile, the battle continues to rage over here as well. Oh, close air support does massive damage to that Jackson. It will be forced back. These two field guns are moving up to try and take shots on the two Tigers and King Tiger as well. This is actually a new King Tiger from Gary. It's upgrading with a machine gun now and has already taken a ton of damage, but needs to get some repairs. The shock troop squads that cleared out the Pak-43 will also be forced away. Ooh. Yet another Panzerschreck potentially lost to the Allies, although he just threw a Molotov on top of it for some reason. A lot of Panzerschrecks this game could have been recovered by the Allies, but weren't for whatever reason.
I am getting tired of this shit!
And now 7th Panzer Division has actually moved an IS-2 of his own to the front line, finally rotating out his Su-85s and bringing in a heavy call-in tank. We do also have King Tiger here in the north, trying desperately to hold on to territory again. If the Germans lose control of either of these victory points, they're going to have very limited time before the game ends. And as their stronghold here in the middle falls, going to be in a dangerous situation. The Stukas continue to fire here. This one in particular has 37 kills. It's pretty impressive. Although the others are not faring nearly as well, sadly. King Tiger once again making its way down here to do what it can. One of the trucks gets taken out. IS-2 taking a lot of damage from various anti-tank weaponry, but it does take out the final remaining truck, and the American player is making a push for the north victory point with Jackson support. That is Vet 2. It does not have armor-piercing rounds loaded at the moment. He's already utilized the ability once. He's trying to take out something, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Oh, his shot bounced. He's getting within Panzerfaust range here. King Tiger turret is slowly rotating. Oh, yet another bounce! And he will get taken out, trying to make a desperate flanking attempt to take that out, but that at the same time, those paratroopers did get this point decapped, stopping the clock at the very least, before being forced to retreat. Meanwhile, a huge flank on the King Tiger here in the south may take it out. It is down to just a sliver. It is attempting to blitz to safety, trying to round the corner, but a P-47 is getting called in, and even then that doesn't matter. Taken out by a field gun. And this, what is this Pak-43 doing? It rotates around backwards for some reason before getting taken out by the Katyusha and IS-2. We also have a Stuka from Gary here, dealing some damage to various infantry there, clearing out the field gun, but the IS-2s still remain. There is another Pak-43 up here, however, which destroys the engine of that IS-2, so that one's definitely toast. But the P-47 is firing at the Stuka, and the Stuka gets taken out. The Germans are now desperately clinging to the two victory points they hold. Again, they cannot afford to lose them. The Tigers fighting for for control of the middle, taking out Su-85s. One does go down. There's also a field gun here. Just so much stuff. Mass chaos. That Tiger is now Vet 3. Very nice use of that Tiger by Doubletap, I might add. Keeping that alive this long. It does only have 28 kills, but his unit preservation has probably been some of the best we've seen. It's probably the only Vet 3 heavy tank on the field right now. Stuka barrage going off. The Fallschirmjäger are attempting to retake the center victory point. The clock is stopped. The Axis are just desperate for repairs, but unfortunately there's not that much on the field that can repair. They're having difficulty keeping up with the Allies' rate of just stuff hitting the field, and an Su-85 just got stolen here by Gary. Man, the rate of Stuka barrages and stuff hitting the center victory point is just insane, as it tends to be when things are starting to really come down to the wire. Doubletap's army still in pretty good shape, but his Tigers are again desperate for repairs. Heavy mortar falling on the center victory point, Stuka falling on the center victory point. Those shock troops cannot afford to stay there, and off they go, clearing the way for these Panzer Grenadiers to attempt the clock ticking in Allied favor once again, or German favor once again, sorry. Allied control of the south remains strong. Not really much of a chance of Dirty Dan doing anything down there, considering his army consists entirely of mobile rocket artillery. That being said, it should be quite useful in continuing to maintain their hold on the 2 victory points they have. But since they have 0 fuel income now, having lost the middle and south, they pretty much have to rely entirely on manpower units. And Gary, RIR, should probably spend some of his resources, considering the situation his team is currently in. Then again, the Allies have done more than their fair share of floating this game too, so... Oh no, the stolen Su-85 couldn't get repaired, and he's going to catch another truck under construction. Oh no. Although he's getting into oddly close range. And another King Tiger is on the field from Optimus Prime. And he's got the fuel for another one after that very soon, especially if they can take control of some territory. That being said, the Allied fuel income is more apparent than it's ever been. Look at this massive wave of IS-2s making its way towards the final Axis stronghold. Meanwhile, another flanking force coming in from the left side. 2 Jacksons and 2 Su-85s as a lieutenant tries to take control of the victory point itself. The 2 Tigers are going to move up to try and force that away. The IS-2 charge over here on the right side looks like it's actually not going that well. Huge Panzer Grenadier flank here did massive damage on the rear armor of these 2 IS-2s. One of them has already been destroyed. That one gets taken out by Panzer Shrek fire. And the King Tiger and close air support will take out all 3 IS-2s. Oh, jeez, that is not good. That being said, it looks like the Allies are experiencing a lot more success over here on the left side. Finally, it looks like Doubletap's 1 Vet 3 Tiger has been taken out. Main gun destroyed on his Vet 2 Tiger. The Jacksons and IS-2 are moving up, taking almost no damage. Desperately trying to get to safety, but there's just nowhere for him to go. Half track goes down. Tiger has given up hope. There it goes. Doubletap has been reduced to... Well, he has a fresh Tiger right here, doing what he can with it. This Pack 43 desperately needs to be recrewed. These King Tigers need to make a hard push for the center victory point before it's too late. Only 50 points remaining. Zeroing artillery has actually been called in, but again, it's bugged, so it doesn't really work. These 2 shock troops are going to move up into the center capture circle to prevent them from capturing. Bundle grenade going out, but it's horribly off target, and the shock troops will maintain control of the center. Meanwhile, the King Tigers are not being mobilized towards the center to push them away. There's only 45 points remaining. There's really no time to waste here. The King Tiger and Tiger will successfully destroy the IS-2 there on the victory point itself, but these two Jacksons continue to circle looking for opportunities. They're dealing heavy damage to the heavy tanks here in the middle at range. Meanwhile, the Su-85s moving up here in the center will force that King Tiger back for repairs, and this bunker is just playing hell with the Tiger's pathing in this area, and that Pak-43 needs to be rotated over here to fire on these targets. Meanwhile, however, Dirty Dan has made a huge push for the south. Nothing available down here to defend, and he will retake control of the south victory point and center fuel, giving his team a little bit more time to fight for the center. Nice Stuka barrage, actually does heavy damage to both of those Su-85s. Another Stuka barrage is coming in now, clearing out a field gun and making way for this Fallschirmjäger squad to try to get the center victory point back under control. The Allies themselves have actually fallen to less than 100 victory points, so it's actually coming somewhat down to the wire for both of these teams. I don't know what this paratrooper squad is doing there, but they get killed, providing vision for a concentrated barrage on that Pak-43, destroying the gun entirely. Again, this Tiger is desperate for repairs. This King Tiger's in need of repairs. This King Tiger is in need of repairs. A huge fleet of Jacksons and IS-2s is about to make its way across the top, and there's not much that can stop it. Meanwhile, it looks like a feeble counterattack by base Costanza for the south victory point is failing. Only one Maxim being sent down there, and a desperate attempt to take it back fails. Dirty Dan will maintain his hold down there with nothing but a Maxim and a Raketenwerfer infantry support gun, but these two shock troops will probably change that situation very soon. The center victory point continues to be contested by these Fallschirmjäger and Lieutenant. The Lieutenant isn't going to be sufficient to force those Fallschirmjäger away. Meanwhile, the repairs continue, but they're so agonizingly slow on these heavy tanks. Dropping more forces into the meat grinder here. It's just not working. Fallschirmjäger easily killing them. What a waste. Only 50 points remain for the Allies now, but fortunately for the Allies, these shock troops will easily be able to clear out everything in the south and start the clock ticking in Allied favor once again. These conscripts also experiencing some success in decapturing the point there in the north, but the Germans have finally pulled into the lead for the first time in the game. The King Tigers have not been fully repaired, but they have to hit the field with what health they do have, dealing massive damage to these various infantry squads in the center, desperately trying to kill them before the point can be decapped. Nice use of the smoke grenade to give him just a little bit of extra time, completely whiting all 3 points. Dirty Dan has actually sent yet more infantry down here into the south, but it's just not enough to contend with this Vet 2 shock troop squad. And base Costanza is going to wipe just about everything out down here and begin capturing the point once again. Meanwhile, here in the north, it looks like Doubletap has failed to take the point, and he cannot afford to continue fighting for it. Also, this King Tiger just got destroyed by mass Jacksons, and the center victory point just can't be taken by those Fallschirmjäger either, because they're taking way too much damage. Even from Su-85s, I guess when there's 4 of them firing at you, you're bound to lose some models. And Sexual Tyrannosaurus lost the south to just Volksgrenadiers, just constant Volksgrenadiers making their way down here, maybe an idle Stuka barrage or something too. But the north is going to fall into Allied hands thanks to those efforts of those conscripts. Machine gun making its way towards the center once again. Incendiary artillery falling on some various weapons. Just so much AT, massive amounts of AT in the center. No Tiger or King Tiger stands a chance if it gets too close. Katyusha barrage clearing out all the infantry. Massive damage from indirect fire. Molotovs. Jacksons deal huge damage to that Tiger. It stood no chance. Just instantly destroyed. This King Tiger will suffer the same fate if it exposes itself. Meanwhile, a Pak-43 has been constructed here, but that's kind of an awkward position. It's not really going to be able to support any engagements here for the center. The southern victory point looks like it might fall to this IS-2 here. Dirty Dan doesn't have anything that can take on 2 IS-2s, not even close. If these 4, they're all firing. Quadruple Stuka barrage. Now that's not something you see every day. But unfortunately, it's completely off target. Doesn't really hit anything. Maxim will get taken out. The battle for the center victory point continues to rage. These Fallschirmjäger look like they may be able to wipe the point despite being under heavy fire. A P-47 is getting called in on this King Tiger. There is a stolen V2 field gun though. May help to deter any big pushes. Only 25 points remaining for the Axis, but they are making a hard infantry push for the North victory point. Unfortunately, the South victory point has fallen to Sexual Tyrannosaurus and his tanks. P-47 dealing heavy damage to the King Tiger, and with all of these Su-85s, it looks like it was only a matter of time before it gets destroyed. Taking heavy damage. Oh, it gets abandoned, and the P-47 finishes it off. Allied infantry trying to take control of the center point. Concentrated barrage wipes out the vetted field gun, and the Fallschirmjäger will fall. The victory point will fall into Allied hands once again. Axis, however, have taken control of the north. Dirty Dan has mobilized his Stukas towards the center to help push away all of this stuff. Oster player fielded yet another Tiger, trying to sprint his Panzer Grenadiers towards the point to get it captured before the time runs out. Only 15 points remain for the Axis. However, there are so many Jacksons and IS-2s, and his Tiger just stands no chance against that kind of firepower. Can't even really chip away at them because of their superior range. The Pak-43, however, is set up perfectly to punish these Jacksons for their overextension. Massive damage there. Meanwhile, the Stukas continue to fire, trying to provide an opportunity for the Fallschirmjäger to take control of the center victory point. Only 9 points remaining, and conscripts have just whited the point in the north, rapidly accelerating the decline of German VPs. Katyusha wipes the Fallschirmjäger squad there in the middle. 4 points remaining. Only 1 point in control of the Allies, but they're soon to capture the north. The middle remains contested, and there's no hope of taking the south. And that's going to conclude the game. The Allies are victorious. Wow, what a game. That was brutally intense fighting over the center for the last, 15 straight minutes of that. Really fun to watch, actually. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to cut the video short because it's running quite long as it is. Send me your replays. I'm happy to do a cast and all the normal crap that I say at the end of these.